just as that rock wall would have done back in the day. So that is my assessment. What is going on, bros? Today we are doing something pretty special. We're going to check out the East Bay Mystery Wall. This portion that we're going to look at is kind of going straight through a hiking trail. So a lot of the other parts, like in the East Bay near like Fremont, are kind of inaccessible. So this is probably one of the better ones to check out in person without breaking any laws. So let's see what this is about. See if we can uncover some mysteries. So it's interesting because a lot of people say that this type of rock wall is common all over the United States and that it's nothing special. So my question is, why is the East Bay rock wall so special then? Freaking, I think Nat Geo did a, I don't know if it was Nat Geo or History Channel. I think it might have been History Channel actually. They did a special on it actually, because there's like no record of how they came to be here pretty much. I think from like 1900, people are like, how the hell did these things get here? There are no like particular orientation. A lot of people are assuming that it's like to keep cattle or whatever in place. Some people say that like to till land, they would, when they were tilling land, they would take rocks out and just kind of like set them aside. But the rock wall is right over there. This isn't farmland. So I don't think that's true. A lot of other people, you know, some people like myths and stuff like that, they're saying it was, you know, aliens or giants or whatever. It's interesting because so many of these wall things remain, and it's kind of unclear if they're all from the same source as well too, because they're just scattered like all over the place, like perpendicular to each other, like zigzagging, all sorts of weird crap. But yeah, we'll check this out in person, try to give you an idea of what these things look like up close. A little bit underwhelming, but still interesting nonetheless. So I don't know, yeah, you guys can probably see in the video, but in the distance there you can actually see the rock wall. It's kind of along the like crest right there pretty much. But what's interesting about this is this rock wall actually goes over the hill and actually links up with some other walls that are right next to the IBM headquarters in like South San Jose, Morgan Hill kind of. And that is totally inaccessible because that headquarters is totally blocked off, secured. So yeah, this is really pretty much like the best one to view in person without going too far, because the ones in the East Bays, a lot of it's on private property, or you have to do some like crazy, you know, hiking and stuff like that. This is pretty steep, but it's doable. All right, so we are approaching the mystery rock wall, or one of the mystery rock walls, walk wall. It's crazy though, because if you didn't know anything about it, you just walk by and be like, oh, some stupid wall that's here for some reason. But this wall is a big source of not controversy, but debate pretty much. There's no historical records of how these things got here, but you can see how well these, you know, parts of this are stacked over here off the trail a little bit. See, it's pretty darn neat, you know. There are other parts that have kind of widened up and whatnot because they've gotten toppled over, but parts like this are stacked pretty intricately. You know, who knows though? I mean, it could have, parts could have fallen off and people could have restacked them many times, you know, because these have been here for at least over, you know, like 150 years, maybe 200 years. Lots of debates, you know, if it could be Native Americans, like I said, rancheros, or just like other early European farmers.
One thing I forgot to mention is that the History Channel actually was drawing a lot of comparisons with the East Bay mystery walls with that of the Great Wall of China, and were actually suggesting that the walls might have been created by Chinese before European settlers came to the area. However, this is still also not proven.
Check this out. Yeah, it's funny because like when you're it's just a rock wall, but it's kind of the meaning and the history, or like unknown history of it, that's interesting. Some of these are pretty damn big. If you look down, I mean, it looks like some of these have been sitting here for quite a while, but you know, it could have been remade a couple times. But it is fun to think about, like, whatever individual person back in the day just lifting one of these up and setting them here, you know? You know? Giants, aliens. It's pretty funny looking back at some of the articles from way back in the day. People, you know, it's just like clickbait today pretty much. It's the same thing, but people were, you know, claiming like, oh, it's extraterrestrials that built this. Since the history is unknown, it's fun to think about, you know, the endless possibilities that this could be related to. But yeah, I mean, these span as far all the way up to Berkeley though, and there's a lot of maps online. There's one website where a guy laid it out really nice of the different zones. And I might put some links here and credit that guy, but it's really interesting because it's not like it's just one part of the Bay Area. It kind of stretches the whole East Bay and down into the South Bay as well too. So there are other videos of people checking out rock walls, but I think this one's a little bit unique because it is in the South Bay, and I think a lot of people don't realize that the rock walls stretch into this part of the Bay Area as well too. So I encourage, you know, anybody who's interested to just do this, you know, short little hike and come check it out in person. I mean, you have to be kind of a weird person though to be interested in rock walls though, because it's literally just rocks that are stacked up. But you know, it is very early history of the Bay Area, so anybody who's into history or anthropology, that kind of thing, definitely worth checking out. Here's another portion of the rock wall that is behind a fence. I believe this is property owned by IBM. So this portion right here probably is less touched and messed with. So over the hill, you can see IBM's headquarters right about here. This specific section probably goes for a little over a mile or so. I think it's actually one of the longer stretches of a straight, you know, rock wall line kind of. If you look at some of the other ones, there's oftentimes a lot more like fragmented parts, but this one's pretty long actually. And it keeps going straight over the hill and then it stops. But then over there at IBM, like parallel to the campus, there's actually one that runs pretty long. And I mean, that would be interesting to see. There might be a video on YouTube somewhere of it, but you know, since it's restricted access to employees, you can't just go and see it, unfortunately. But I still think that this is probably the best portion to see in person without, you know, breaking laws or whatever. There's a lot of videos of people kind of bushwhacking to find some of the East Bay walls, but I mean, I think that's cool, but I don't know. If you can just do a hike like this and then see a portion in person, I think this is kind of the best option. Yeah, it's fun to think about people just kind of roaming through here and building these walls for whatever reason, you know, 200 years ago or something like that. Yeah, there's a big portion here that kind of is missing. It's probably removed or something at some point. Here's a view looking more south towards that first part over there. You can see a little bit of it here, and I think it continues over that way. But just look at the rolling green hills. This is actually a great visual here. You can see where the rock wall ends, kind of like right over there. Maybe back in the day it extended down more. Who knows? Probably not. But the cool thing is that there are cows grazing here. So this kind of does give you like an idea kind of what, you know, the original purpose for those walls kind of were. To just keep cows from going too far. I mean, you can see a modern day fence right here keeping the cows in. So, I mean, they didn't have barbed wire and steel posts back in the 1800s. Well, I mean, maybe some places, but California was, you know, unsettled at that point. So, I mean, a rock wall was about as good as you're gonna get next to some sort of wooden fence or something like that. But there's so many rocks in this area that making a wall out of rocks just kind of makes sense. Yeah, and cows are here just chilling, abiding by the fence that you see here. It's doing its job, just as that rock wall would have done back in the day. So that is my assessment. I think that it was used for cattle containment. Probably, as I was mentioning, rancheros way back in the day, those early Spanish Mexican settlers in California, when there's like nothing going on here whatsoever. And because of that, no records were kept because they were just chilling and living here, you know? But yeah, this is probably how it looked back in the day. So, all right, I think that sums the video up. Gonna continue this hike and loop around and head out, but I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'd like to thank you for watching, and just keep an eye out for more videos to come. I know this format was a bit different than previous videos, but I figured, you know, it'd be fun to change it up a little bit. So yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.